If you started dreading the texts, letting calls go to voicemail, feeling guilty for wanting to disappear from people you genuinely love, I want you to consider this. You're not a bad friend. You're burned out on giving. You've been the one who carries, the one everyone leans on. And a back that's carried that much for that long doesn't go cold. It just gives out. Somewhere along the way, you became the strong one, the reliable one, the person everybody calls when it all falls apart, the one who always picks up, always shows up, always knows what to say. And it felt good for a long time to be that for people. But strength has a strange gravity to it. The more you give, the more is asked, and the less anyone thinks to ask how you're doing in return. So you kept pouring, and quietly, nobody refilled you, and now you've got nothing left and you're calling that nothing a character flaw. Think about a campfire for a second. A fire gives warmth to everyone in the circle. People pull their chairs close, hold out their hands, lean into the heat, and the fire asks for nothing in return. It just gives. But a fire runs on fuel. Every bit of warmth it puts out, it pays for in wood. And if everyone keeps taking the warmth and nobody ever adds a log, the fire doesn't choose to stop being generous. It simply burns down to embers, because you cannot radiate heat from wood that's already gone to ash. The fire didn't get selfish. It got spent. That's what's happening inside you, and it's the furthest thing from being a bad friend. Friendship was always meant to be a fire that everyone feeds. Each person adding logs, each person warmed, the giving flowing in every direction. What you've been living instead is a fire that only ever gives. You've kept the warmth going for everyone else by burning your own reserves, and now that the embers are low, the guilt you feel for wanting to rest is really just the fire, wondering why it's the only one who ever brought wood. Let me tell you about someone. I'll call her Nadia. Nadia was everyone's safe harbor, the friend who remembered every birthday, who drove across town at midnight when someone was crying, who held 3 different friends through 3 different breakups in the same year. People described her, always, as the most giving person they knew, and one ordinary Tuesday, her phone buzzed with a friend's name, and instead of warmth, she felt a wave of pure dread, and she let it ring out, and then she sat there convinced she'd become a cold, selfish, terrible person. What Nadia eventually understood was that the dread wasn't coldness. It was a fire warning her. It was nearly out. For years, she'd given and almost never received, because she'd built a role where receiving felt like weakness and asking felt like a burden. The friends weren't cruel. Most of them simply had no idea, because Nadia had never once let them see her need anything. When she finally started telling the truth, started saying, "I'm exhausted," started letting people show up for her, something surprising happened. The friendships that were real got deeper, and she stopped being the fire that only gave and became part of a circle where the warmth finally moved both ways. There's real science under this. Researchers studying relationships use a framework called equity theory, and it reveals something most overgivers never realize. We tend to assume that the people who give the most are the happiest in their relationships. They're not. The research consistently shows that the most satisfied, most lasting bonds are the balanced ones, where giving and receiving roughly even out over time. Chronic overgivers, the ones perpetually pouring out more than they take in, report some of the lowest relationship satisfaction and the highest rates of burnout and resentment. It turns out, the imbalance corrodes the very thing it's trying to protect. A friendship needs to flow both ways, or it slowly poisons the one holding it up. So, if you've been calling yourself a bad friend, here are 3 things I want you to understand about what's really going on. First, the dread is not your heart turning cold, it's your reserves running out. The pulling away you feel isn't a sign you've stopped caring, it's the exact opposite. It's a system that cares so much it kept giving past empty, and now it's pulling back the only way it knows how, because you never learned to do it gently. Listen to the dread. It's not telling you who you are, it's telling you what you need. Second, you were never meant to be the only one bringing wood. Somewhere, you absorbed the idea that needing things makes you a burden, so you became the giver who never takes. But a one-directional friendship isn't deep generosity. It's an imbalance you've been quietly subsidizing. Letting people give to you isn't weakness. It's the thing that lets the fire keep burning for everyone, including you. Third, real friends want to add logs. The fear underneath all of this is that if you stop giving, you'll be left alone. That your value to people is the warmth you provide. But the friends worth keeping aren't there for the heat. They're there for you. And most of them would be relieved, even honored, to finally get to show up the way you always have. Let them. The ones who vanish when you stop pouring were warming themselves, not loving you. So stop standing over your burned down fire, ashamed of the embers, calling yourself cold because you've got nothing left to give. You were never a bad friend. You were simply the only one bringing wood for far too long, and the answer was never to squeeze warmth from ash. It was to let someone else, finally, add a log. The poet Khalil Gibran once wrote that you give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. You've given of yourself for years. There is no debt left to pay. You're allowed, now, to be the one who receives. That's not selfishness. That's the fire learning, at last, to let itself be fed. You were never a bad friend. You were just spent, mistaking exhaustion for a flaw in your heart. So stop pouring from the ash, and go let the warmth, for once, come back toward you.